Well, this week we had fake news, false flags, hoaxes, and of course, identity politics shoved in our face. We had it all this week, guys. So much to cover. Where do you want to start, Leanne?
Well, I think, let's get a little update on this hashtag boycott Delta story that was one of the top trending things all day yesterday, talking about fake news. So here is a serial YouTube prankster says that he was kicked off a plane, off a Delta flight for speaking Arabic, too loudly. Now we have passengers that were seated on the plane disputing his account. But the interesting thing is that when we have these kind of race crime hoaxes, it doesn't matter. The fake news just takes it and runs with it. And they're like, oh, man, was kicked off of a flight. And of course, that's going to set Delta stocks plummeting. Yes.
Exactly.
And so it's like there's no accountability here. They're like, ooh, a race crime. Let's go ahead and just go with it.
And let's not forget about all the social justice warriors on social media that immediately bought this hook, line, and sinker and tweeted about it all day.
You know what? These fake anti-Muslim racial profiling incidents, they only give credence to the fact because they're normally targeted at Trump supporters, let's be honest. It's normally that big, bad Trump supporter. Like the case in Mississippi, the churchgoer. Do you remember this? It was right a week before the election took place. Somebody wrote, "Vote Trump" on the side of a Mississippi church, then burned it to the ground. They were trying to claim the media ran with this for about 4 days straight. Turns out it was an actual parishioner, 45-year-old Andrew McClinton, burned down his own church and then tried to blame it on Trump supporters. We saw the same thing with the burqa. The lady's name is escaping me, accused a white male of ripping off her burqa, who was also a Trump supporter. Turned out to be fake. This Adam Salah story, you think they know by now that... then just to get another instance.
Let's let everything come in. Let's see what the other passengers on the plane have to say about the story. Do they agree as well? And let's not just take this. And here it's like highly documented that he's a known YouTube prankster that sets up, I'm going to dress in Muslim garb and see if I get, traditional Muslim garb and see if I get accosted or kicked off a plane, or I'm going to count down from 10 in Arabic and see if I can terrorize everyone. This is the kind of stuff that when people do actually suffer from a hate crime, we don't believe them because it's like the boy who cried wolf too many times. And people are saying, well, it kicked off a flight. It happens all the time. And the point is, if you're on a flight and you're causing a disturbance, you're going to get kicked off. Case in point, there were two gay white males that were harassing Ivanka Trump on a JetBlue flight. And they got kicked off because they were harassing her. Why are you on this flight? You should be on a private jet.
She flew coach, by the way.
Yeah.
If anybody cares.
She flew coach with her kids on a JetBlue. And they're yelling at her, saying how her dad is destroying the country and how he's this elitist scum. But then they're yelling at her for taking a coach JetBlue.
I mean, this might be an extreme analogy here, but like if I go out and I am wearing a KKK outfit and I'm causing trouble at an event or on a plane and I get beat up or arrested or whatever, well, that's what I deserve, okay? And if I come out and I'm like, no, you're racist against the white man, how dare you? No. The KKK has a history of racial violence. I deserve everything I get. We live in a culture now where radical Islam ideology is now promoting violence and inflicting violence on innocent people. So yeah, you go on the plane, you try to make your little jokes, there's going to be a response.
Right. Speaking of a call to violence, ISIS puts churches in all 50 states in this country on a hit list. They're encouraging these lone wolf attacks to go into churches, hotels, coffee shops, and do as much damage as you can, kill as many people as you can. But, other than Vocative and a couple of other news sites, this is not on mainstream media for some reason. The last time they did this, they put 8,000 police officers.
For some reason,
right, on a list. And, we've got this ridiculous sense of we have to be multicultural, we have to be politically correct. Meanwhile, we've got a full-on list with addresses on it. If you're celebrating Christmas, hey, you're just a target. I'm sorry, you're a target.
How funny would it be if Adam Saleh went to go do a viral video outside of these churches and started pretending that he was a terrorist and see what the reaction would be,
right?
And prove that everyone's racist because they were afraid of him counting down in Arabic. It's ridiculous.
Well, and here's my thing. All right, look, Adam Saleh, you want to be a goofball, you want to be a prankster, you want to make money on YouTube. Okay, fine. I guess that's your right. Don't complain or be surprised when you're pulling these pranks on, very touchy ground, very emotionally unstable ground here. These are very serious issues. When people react seriously, don't get upset, don't cry racism. That's the pathetic nature of this whole thing to me. And of course, now look.
Well, racial tensions are high, and that's kind of, we're hearing these stories coming out, and it's almost as if it's meant to continue having the racial tension, so that, you know, lead up to the election with all the protests.
So, but let's recall, and I tweeted this out earlier today. Remember, Hitler burned the Reichstag as a false flag to start war. And we just covered a few stories talking about hoaxes, and you can see the tweet there from Brittany Pettibone highlighting, and there's been a bunch of tweets like this, highlighting all of the headlines. We just touched on some of them. You know, Islamic hoax says Trump supporters beat her. That turned out to be false. You know, hoax this, hoax here, hoax here. So what is this? What's going on? It's a false flag. You blame your enemy in order to perpetuate the war or the tension, whatever it is. Right. Hitler did it. And how funny is that? They say that Trump supporters are Hitler. Here we have all the anti-Trumpers actually doing what Hitler did.
Right. Not only that, the mainstream media, and this is Leanne's article, but I have to highlight it in case we forget to do it. Chris Hayes. So the mainstream media, they are perpetuators of this garbage. They understand that if they just say it again and again and again, some unsuspecting people who just read headlines might absorb it. And this Chris Hayes character, this sustained effort to delegitimize Trump, quote, no matter how deranged is the path back to power for Democrats, they are willing to do anything that they possibly can.
Fake news, disinfo.
Whatever they have to do. They don't care if they have to lie to you, if they have to, you know, make up crap as they go along.
With this Adam Saleh story, they took this and ran with it. You know, it was on every single hour of CNN, et cetera. And so then the retraction comes too late. It's just like if you issue
the damage is done.
People already took the story. They believe it. People are fighting about it on Twitter, you know, and they've already committed to it being real. They're not okay with it being a hoax at this point. So they've already like committed to being duped by the story. And then there's also a story that came out this week about the families of the Orlando shooting victims' families are suing now Facebook, Twitter, and Google, saying that they're doing everything they can to, of course, stop anyone from criticizing Islam. But when ISIS and other jihadi groups are actually using their platforms to commit these atrocities or to gain supporters, they're not doing their job in shutting this down. And so they're actually now suing these people, saying that they are providing material support.
Well, and victims of the Nice attack as well have taken a lawsuit against these same social media platforms. And just, you know, off topic, but same topic, we still don't know where the wife of Omar Mateen is. You know, she's still gone, MIA. They had her. Now she's gone. Omar Mateen gets to sit behind Hillary Clinton at rallies.
Right.
But moving on. Right. Moving on, though. So you've got all of these attacks, and then you've got the MTV video, which they had to pull down.
It was so terrible.
Because it was so bad, and they got totally black. You know, and that's the amazing thing. None of this, I think, is sticking. I really think that all of these efforts are failing, guys.
They're miserable failures, but going back to Leanne's story about these social media giants being complicit, they are civilly liable. They allow groups like ISIS to exchange information, to raise money in some cases. I've seen groups that allow, you know, Sarid Farouk, his wife, was complaining for weeks and weeks on end about how, you know, she was persecuted. They're allowing people to sync up and become radicalized. And yet, if you try to promote, I dare you, if you're on social media right now, post something that's true, that you know that's true, and tag a few people in it, and see how quickly that gets shut down and censored.
Violates the community guidelines.
But if you're promoting for ISIS, I mean, let's say you put a church address up. Well, you know what? That's right at the, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Put out your kill list. That's fine. That can be allowed to circulate on the internet. Watson did a story about how they were actually, these jihadist groups were selling weapons via Facebook.
Yep.
Like military grade weapons on Facebook. And it was up well after his report went out, but they didn't shut it down. And that's incredible.
So they're recruiting on Facebook. They're selling weapons on Facebook. But if you're supporting Trump on Facebook or speaking bad about Obama, you know, you're liable to get censored.
That's offensive. I'm triggered.
I was blocked on Twitter for a moment because I put out a picture. Little humor for you here as we close the segment. It was a picture of an elephant's butt, and I tagged it leaked Barack Obama selfie, and I was blocked on Twitter and shut down for about an hour after that. So thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. The hoaxes in the mainstream media are failing. Thanks to you, our listeners. Going to Infowars.com.
In case you haven't heard, InfoWars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists. InfoWars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of The Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the InfoWars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to Infowars.com/app and download today. InfoWars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the InfoWars store that are only available for InfoWars Prime subscribers. That's InfoWars Prime at Infowars.com/app. And if you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.